Ladies and gentlemen, I always take this opportunity to thank you for supporting this channel, for supporting this content. And if you're watching this for the first time, please support Street Genius channel by hitting the subscription button, bringing forth your comments in the comment section, and also for your likes. I'll really appreciate for your support. Let us grow together. Let us grow Street Genius channel. Let us support this content. In today's content, guys, I want to talk about a topic that affects us in the society of today. I mean, younger generation and even the generations that have come before. I want to talk about building relationships and also answering the biggest question that a lot of people ask about family issues, the spouses, who should love who when it comes to growing a family, who should submit. I mean, the biggest question is always who should love who in a family. So I want to talk about this and to just give out my perception and my verdict for this in our current scenario, in our current society. So talking about building relationships, and in this context, basically sinking down into family and the growth of a family, I want us to coin back to our African setup, the way we used to live. I mean, the way the African setup was built and the way families grew up, the way children were raised, so that we can answer this biggest question. Now, if you look at the African setup in the generations that come before us, is that families were built by each and every party sticking to their roles. If you talk about the roles of the man, for instance, the man was to protect the family, to offer solutions to the family. The man was the leader of the family. I mean, in terms of provision, in terms of offering security, in terms of being the leader of the family. The woman was to submit to the man. The woman was to follow the man. And so in the African setup, we had different groups of young boys and girls in different setups according to their agenda, being trained on how to grow up a family and make it a successful. So the man was to offer security, the man was to provide, the man was to guide. It was generally the pillar of the family was to guide in the African setup. If we look at the woman, the woman's roles were to, nurture the young growing family in terms of nurturing the children and the kids, to be patient with them and ensure that they explore their potential and their talents. Because of that devotion, attachment, and that affection, the woman was given a disciplinary role, to make the kids grow better, to grow with discipline. So the woman played a disciplinary role and also was to submit to the man, to follow the man, because the man was the leader of the family. And this wasn't to mean that there's a party that was demeaning the other party. No, it was just each and every person adjusting to their roles to ensure that this family grow, and then the children will follow the suit. And so when you look at the African setup, I was thinking about it. If you were to follow the African setup, if we were to follow our grandfathers, our grandmothers, the way they were raised and the way they grew the family, you realize that it was a successful one, and it was not a question of who should love who. It was a question of each party adjusting to their roles, performing their roles to their best, and then love will happen naturally. It will happen like second nature. It will happen phenomenally. So it wasn't a question of who should love who and who should submit to who. It was just a question of people making natural adjustment, not crossing their borders, not crossing their barriers, sticking to their roles and ensuring that this family grows, the children grow better, so that they can be able also to handle and tackle their family issues in accordance to the way they saw it from their parents. And so I was thinking about this today, in terms of just seeing the way families break up in our current generations. We aren't making it as couples, we aren't making it in terms of our relationships. And I was just looking at how, even when you are to focus on the ways of nature, if you are to look at the rules of the jungle, for instance, the rules of the jungle is analogous to the way the African setup was, conducted. And I was just seeing like it seems our elders followed the rules of nature. If you are to look at, for instance, the lion, the lioness, and the cubs, the lion, you know, I mean, the lioness will hunt, the male lion will protect the territory, the lioness will hunt, bring food, take care of the cubs. Then the lion will be in full security of this territory. So if I am trying to connect the rules of nature, I'm trying to look at our African setup the way it was, then I have a feeling that if we were to come back to the rules of nature as a people and just follow the way the African setup was, and not following the Caucasian ways of living, their belief system, their cultures, some of these principles that we are following up in our current world are just belief systems that were midwifed to us by the Caucasians, by the white. And these has become the biggest distraction in the humankind. So it's high time we we go back to our roots as a people, follow the way our grandparents lived their life to the fullest, and their families became better by each and every person making adjustment to their particular roles, and then it becomes a win-win scenario, and rather not, a failure to the family. So let's stick to our roles as Africans. Let each and every party perform their roles. If you are the man of the family, if you are the husband, you understand that you should support the family by playing husbandry roles, which are providing, taking care of your spouse, taking care of the children, offering solution in terms of challenges, being with the family and ensuring that you stick to your roles and perform what you're supposed to perform and to do. The woman also should perform, should restrict herself to what she's supposed to do. And what is that? Being submitting to the man, submissive to the man, respecting the man, consulting with the man together, nurturing the kids, bonding with the children, because the man will go and, hustle out, come back to the house. The woman will remain in the house when you're to look at it in this context. So the woman is to nurture the kids, to play the motherly roles, to ensure that they grow with discipline, to ensure that they all get what they're supposed to get from their parents. Then these families will grow to better, and each and every person will, understand their roles and, just make these families a success. So my verdict as a person at this particular juncture is to say that it's not a question of who should love who in a relationship or in a family for that matter. It is a question of each and every person adjusting to their basic roles, and then love comes phenomenally. It comes like second nature. Then at the end of the day, the children will follow the suit and also become better people in their life at that particular time and even in the future. So let's stick to our roles as Africans. Let's stick to what our parents left for us, and avoid the Caucasian ways, the belief system that is really destroying Africans, destroying our families, by crossing boundaries and moving. Because what is happening nowadays is one person want to cross her borders or his borders and perform what is not meant for them. So let's stick to our rules as Africans. Let's stick to what was midwife to us by our elders who came in the million of generations that have come to pass. And we will make better families, we will make better children, we will nurture them, and we'll build relation, and then at the end of the day it will come to an upward spiral in terms of our relationship, and not a downward spiral where we are raising a singlehood generation. We are raising children single parent generation. No, let's raise our children with each and every person in the picture, so that our kids don't grow with trauma, they don't grow with memory, but rather grow with prosperity. So that is my verdict at this juncture, talking about relationship, building our relationship, making an upward spiral, making better children, making a better future, making a better generation. Thank you, and let us continue supporting Street Genius channel and have a nice time. Thank you. All the best.